Greetings, Dr. Dalton and fellow classmates of TTU Health Science Center, class HPRC 5307. I am Jesse McCoy and I will provide my video overview of learning different cultures, the polar opposite. First, I have self-disclosure that I am at a time in my life where I am diminishing the word hate. I am moving from hate to love in order to enjoy a quality of life beyond what have been previously expected. Now, when I was on active duty military and I was placed on details to burn the entire camp's restroom waste, now I hated that. But it was something that had to be done, and it was my turn to do it. That was one of my hates, and I will discuss a previous hate in a few minutes. So in this era, I choose not to hate anymore. I believe when I hold on to hate, it aggravates the internal organs within my body that causes them to not work properly. So I have made a pledge to myself not to take any hate to my grave whenever it is my time to move on to glory. To fulfill the requirement for this assignment of learning different cultures, the polar opposite, I have selected the culture of LGBTQIA community, which was a previous hate for me. Based on my previous beliefs, I could not stand the sight of a person displaying LGBT characteristics or qualities, if you will. Especially dudes wanting to be ladies, where there are plenty of ladies in the world looking for good men. According to a Washington Post, there are slightly more men than women in the world. Could this be a reason why men want relationships with other men? That is a very good question. It really took me a while to get over this anxiety and anger as I carried it into my military career. I have come to realize that people in the LGBT community bleed just as I do. So I have learned to be considerate of others and care less about who they love, how they talk, how they walk, their body language, and how they dress themselves. I cannot force to waste my energy on that type of stuff anymore. If I was to diagnose myself back then, I would have to say I had a touch of the homophobia, which is a negative attitude towards those in the LGBT community. Strategies to overcome homophobia are as follows. Exposure. Exposure-based interventions are the most effective treatments. Being around people in those communities, getting to know them better. That is exposure. Self-monitoring of internal cues of anxiety. Learn more about the LGBT community. Education is certainly the key towards ending hatred and bigotry of the LGBT individuals, and become more tolerant of others' behaviors and have consideration for others. And I had to throw this last one in. See the person, but concentrate more on the conversation and counseling session at hand. So let's get to it. My biggest fear back in my younger days was someone in the LGBT community was to approach me trying to inflict their behavior influence on me, my family, and friends, seeking a relationship in which I had flipped a switch to release my monster. Yes, I was very protective back then, and I'm still protective today, but in a different way. However, I was okay with withholding various conversations with anyone. My thing is, if you know I'm straight, then don't come at me sideways. All right. And if someone was to approach me first or even a second time, trying to get with me sideways, then they may get a polite response. But if there was a third time, then it wouldn't be a polite response. Associating with a person in the LGBT community is rather new for me, as I have become more tolerant and considerate of others for who they are, who they love, and what they do. I have matured in spiritual beliefs which help me calm down, hide my monster towards the things that are important and the things that are not so important. Also, I believe or been involved in live combat where bullets and bombs and the enemy are trying to invade my space, and that also had a way of humbling me as well. So as far as gathering information needed, well, research is always great. Research is always great. But just like that exposure, one of those interventions that we had earlier, exposure intervention, well, hey, being with people from this community, asking questions, surveying people in this community or the social groups, definitely have impact on curtailing homophobia. So that exposure intervention, being around them, definitely would curtail that homophobia. Anyway, how you gonna not like anybody when you don't know anything about them? All right. So I would dive into relationships, sexuality, health, identity, coping with stress, and religion to learn more about the LGBT community. Starting off with relationship. 3 keys to healthy relationship are communication, trust, and respect. Well, if you're in a relationship, they are very key. You need that. Anybody. Communication, trust, and respect. Communication involves talking and listening. Trust means being reliable, responsible, and dependable. And respect is the most important one, and which is to get respect or to receive respect. You got to give respect. Give it to receive it. All right. So persons who are LGBT desire close and intimate relationship, which include emotional, physical, and sexual, is a part of the human condition. So everybody in relationship, we want that emotional, physical, and sexual. That's part of the Abraham Maslow hierarchy of needs. We need that. Yes. People who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, queer, questioning, that's the LGBTIQQ, or two-spirit, or same gender loving, or asexual, face unique challenges to creating and sustaining relationship. What makes a good relationship is commonality and communication, compromise, acceptance, and agreement. Having effective communication is essential to relationship satisfaction. It begins with you being aware of your thoughts, wants, needs, desires, and emotion. It is important to be honest with yourself and the potential partner about what you want. It is also important to respect what your potential partner says about what they want, rather than trying to change them and hoping the person will change with time. That don't work. Recognizing your boundaries, desires, and limitations. Don't surrender to what you want in order to be someone who isn't a good fit for you. As I'm reviewing this information, saying this information, I'm saying to myself, most likely everyone in a relationship want the same thing that I just mentioned. And so everybody wants that. I mean, it's special. Everybody wants that. It's common. Everybody wants that. Moving into sexuality. So people often mistake the terms gender, sex, and sexuality. It is important to understand the difference in order to better identify questions you may have about yourself and to be able to discuss these issues in the correct way with other people you may encounter. Let's roll into sexuality orientation. It's a term used to describe a person's romantic and sexual attraction towards others, whether it be heterosexual, male and female, homosexual, female on female, or male on male, or bisexual, attracted to both male and female. Some people feel like they are born with a sexual orientation and have always known, while others feel like sexual orientation may evolve over a course of their lives. Sexual behavior is a behavior. Behavior does not define identity or orientation. So many people engage in homosexual behavior without identification as homosexual. For example, a heterosexual male can engage in sexual behavior with another male while still primarily attracted to females. Sexual identity refers to how a person chooses to express their sexuality with others. Typically, sexual identity will be expressed of a person's underlying sexual orientation, but sexual orientation and sexual identity does not always match. Moving into health. Eliminating LGBT health disparities and enhancing efforts to improve LGBT health are necessary to ensure that LGBT individuals can lead long, healthy lives. Most everyone I know wants to lead long, healthy lives. All right, but many benefits addressing concerns and reducing disparity, they include the following: reduction in disease transmission and progression, increase mental and physical well-being, reduce healthcare costs, and increase longevity. When I look at people in general, we all have those same health concerns, and we all want to ensure that those concerns are reduced or eliminated from our lives. Reduction in disease and transmission and progression. Well, we know what we got to do about that. Increase mental and physical well-being. Know what we got to do about that. So we can do the first two, then reduce healthcare costs. And once we do the first two, again, if we live right, we increase our longevity for living. Understanding the LGBT health starts with understanding the history of oppression and discrimination that these communities has faced. Almost sound like the black community. For example, in part because bars and clubs were the only safe place where LGBT individuals could gather, alcohol abuse, and they had ongoing problems. Social determinants affecting the health of LGBT individuals largely relate to oppression and discrimination. Sounds familiar. Give you some examples. Legal discrimination in access to health insurance, employment, housing, marriage, adoption, and retirement benefits. Lack of laws protecting against bullying in school. Okay. Lack of social programs targeted to and or appropriate for LGBT youth, adults, and elders. Lack of social programs. So I guess in the black community also. A shortage of healthcare providers are also knowledgeable and culturally competent in the LGBT community. Well, we know in about 3 or 4 years we're going to be 90,000 healthcare providers short. So, to plug in, if you have any family members out there and the kids want to be doctors, please encourage them to be doctors. We need more doctors. Moving back on to my video overview briefing. Moving into the physical environment that contributes to healthy LGBT individuals include safe school, neighborhoods, and housing. We all want that. Access to recreational facilities and activities. I can relate to that. And availability of safe meeting places. And also access to health services. Moving into identity. So in the United States, in the 1970s, marked a new era in research regarding to sexual orientation, identity, development with the emergence of theoretical stages models describing homosexual identity. Those models focus on the resolution of internal conflict, which related to identification of lesbian, gay, and inform what is commonly known as the coming out process. So there are 6 stages in the LGBT identity development concerning the coming out process. First one, exiting heterosexuality. 2, developing a personal LGBT identity. 3, developing an LGBT social identity. 4, becoming an LGBT offspring. 5, developing an LGBT intimacy status. 6, entering the LGBT community. Coping with stress. LGBT people unquestionably experience long-term stress related to their sexual orientation and gender identity. They are often internalized the negative message about being different. The difference. These messages become beliefs that can fester and develop into 2 struggles. 1, shame about who they are and what they feel, and 2, guilty about what they do. Moreover, LGBT people witness physical assaults against others they identify with, which further threaten the sense of their physical and emotional safety. Experiences of verbal and physical abuse by peers based on sexual orientation and gender variation are almost universal for LGBT youth. In a 1998 study, LGBT students had derogatory slurs, or they heard derogatory slurs such as faggot, dyke, queer, and an average of 26 times each day. Wow. Ongoing movements within the LGBT community have developed alternative means for people to connect, share, and heal in meaningful ways. Individuals have become connected through other activities and venues such as recreational groups, political actions, peer support groups, and discussion groups. Community developers and researchers are recognizing the connection between the prejudice experienced by the LGBT people and discrimination based off race, gender, ethnicity. LGBT individuals are tackling isolation and prejudice by developing healthy alliances with their neighborhoods, friends, and families. Gay-straight alliances are being developed within the school system. It is important for everyone to recognize the strength and the courage required for the LGBT people to stand up and face discrimination. It is also important to acknowledge the enduring capability for people to heal from the wounds of prejudice. Moving into religion. Respect between people of different sexualities and even individuals' relationships can make sexuality and desires productive force in society. Religion or religious people can continue to struggle with their communities to integrate their understanding of their traditions with the reality of the LGBT people in the midst as neighborhoods, family members, and fellow congregants. For many religious active LGBT people and their allies, it makes sense to engage in debates with religious conservatives about how to interpret a particular religious text or implement traditions. Such debates are already taking place within many religious communities. Both religion and sexuality are ways of living. In the language of the United States Constitution, forms a free exercise that are essential to and even defined as personal identities. Ways of living are informed by practice as well as by a sense of an inner life. With religion, the inner life is often called conscious. With sexuality, the inner life is the feeling of desire. In both cases, they are profound, lived experiences that make themselves known through practices. Many people know what they believe, and many people know what and whom they desire by enacting these beliefs with others. These experiences and feelings keenly inform how individuals understand their lives and make comments to others. Sexuality and religion may not or may have a lot in common, more than what people can imagine. Neither has to be discarded or cast out to make room for the other. They can in fact be understood through each other. Ending with, counselors that have clients from the LGBT community must have 3 areas of multicultural competence to include knowledge, awareness, skills, and intervention. Counselors must be supportive and display a welcoming environment. Counselors must understand that one key difference and pose self-reflection to be able to reduce or eliminate any stigmatization of the person that are part of the LGBT community. Dr. Dalton and fellow classmates, this concludes my video overview brief. You all have a great 4th of July, and we see you all next week.